Good evening, students. So in the last class, we have studied about the effect of V0 on the output current of a current steering circuit. So here, the final current is I0 dash. Okay, initially the current was I0. It was depending only on I reference as well as the aspect ratios. But now you can see it is depending on the voltage also, that is V0 also. So again, this V0 is going to determine the new value of the current, which is denoted by I0 dash. And the expression of I0 dash is given by I reference into the ratios of the two aspect ratio, whole multiplied by 1 plus V0 minus VGS divided by the early voltage of second transistor or output transistor. As you can see here, this is the graphical representation that shows the effect of output current. Here, initially the current is very less, and gradually when V0 increases, the current also increases. So whenever this output voltage becomes equal to VOV, that is the overdrive voltage, you will have a saturation current. So beyond this, even if we try to increase voltage, the output current has negligible effect, but it has got a very minute variation. So that is determined by the slope. So a small change in output current with respect to a large change in V0 is nothing but its slope, and the slope is nothing but it is equal to 1 divided by R0, where R0 is the output resistance. So this you have found out from this particular equation. So this V0 is going to affect our I0. So that variation is graphically represented as shown in this figure. So as you can see, I will again repeat. As you can see in the graph, initially when V0 is very less, I0 is also less. But gradually when you increase V0, you have a corresponding linear variation in the output current. But whenever whenever V0 increases beyond VGS minus VT, that's nothing but your overdrive voltage, your I0 is getting almost saturated. That is, output current is almost, it becomes constant, and you don't have any drastic change in I0 with respect to variations in V0. So finally, if, V0, even though you increases to a large value, but still you can see a very small incremental change in I0. So that incremental change in I0 is given by its slope, which is equal to 1 divided by R0. So this is the uh, uh, effect of V0 over the output current I0. Now, based upon this, we will proceed with this particular problem. Kindly go through this problem. Given VDD is equal to 3 volt, here you have the supply voltage is equal to 3 volt and the reference current is given 100 microampere. It is required to design the following figure. Means you have given a circuit and you need to design that particular circuit to obtain an output current whose nominal value is 100 microampere. So as of now, in this particular circuit, you have given I reference as well as I naught. I naught is nothing but output current. So both the current is be same. It is nothing but 100 microampere. You need to find R. Okay, in the last class we have studied about the effect, the use of this particular resistance R, because R is going to determine the reference current, and again the reference current is going to determine your output current along with the features of aspect ratio. Here I repeat, reference current is going to determine by the resistance value R. So to design this 100 microampere or to get this 100 microampere current, how should you place this particular resistance, or how much resistance you need to fix in order to get this 100 microampere current? So that you need to identify. If both the transistors are matched and have channel length of 1 micrometer, it is given that both the length is same, that is 1 micrometer, and width is also 10 micrometer. Means the aspect ratios are same. Understood? The two transistors or the two MOSFETs that is considered in this particular problem are identical or matched in terms of length and width. Okay, so both are identical, which means that the ratio of aspect ratios is 1:1. And threshold voltage is given, Kn dash is given. You need to find the lowest possible value of V0. You're going to find the minimum value of V0, because what happens if V0 is still small? If V0 is less than this particular value, this will not be in saturation condition. If both the transistor are satisfied or it is operated in saturation region, then only we can say that current mirror circuit performs well. If due to any causes, if unfortunately your V0 goes below a particular value, then you can say that your circuit is not at all in saturation region, or else you can say that your transistor or the performance of your current mirror circuit is not good. And apart from that, you have given the early voltage 20 volt per micrometer. Okay, see, it is VA dash. The significance of putting dash here it is voltage per length. What is the total length here you have? You can see the total length is 1 micrometer. Means the overall voltage is nothing but 20 volt, because only the length is 1 micrometer. So for 1 micrometer you are having 20 volt. So what is the overall voltage? It's 20 into 1, that is 20 voltage. And you need to find the output resistance, and also you need to find the change in the output current resulting from a +1 volt change in V0. Earlier in the previous class I have told you V0 is going to change our output current. So here V0 is changed by +1 volt as shown in this particular problem. So due to this change in +1 volt, how the output current is going to change, that we need to identify, and correspondingly we need to find the output resistance. So what and all we need to find out from this problem? The first one is you need to find R. Okay. The first one you need to find is you have to find the value of R. That is, the R is going to determine our resistance, I mean our reference current value. Apart from R, the second point you need to find out is the lowest possible value of output voltage. That is, if the output voltage goes beyond that lowest value, no longer you can say that your circuit operates in saturation region and it is not going to perform. The current mirror circuit is not going to perform well. Third parameter you need to find out is the output resistance of the current source. And fourth parameter you need to find out is the change in the output current corresponding to a +1 volt change in the output voltage. So corresponding to a positive 1 volt change in the output, how it is going to change the output current? Because I told you output current also it is variable with respect to output voltage. So if by any chances output voltage is changing, correspondingly your output current is also going to change. That change we need to find out. And circuit is given in the question. Okay. Okay. So circuit is given in the question. You can see the circuit. Yeah, so this is a circuit which is a current mirror circuit, and you can see why it is current mirror, because transistors they are both the transistors they are matched transistors. Okay, both the transistors are matched transistors, and you have Q1 and Q2 having equal length and equal width. Resistance R we need to find out. So first of all I will write all the given parameters. So all the given parameters I have mentioned. See, these are all the given parameters. Okay. Not take. Okay. Yes. So these are all the given parameters, and you're going to find out, see the question mark, you're going to find R, and you're going to find the minimum output voltage, you're going to find R0 as well as a change in output current. So first thing what you will do is, you will find the minimum output voltage. And you know the equation or the condition that is to be followed. In the last class, we have gone through the derivation. The condition to be satisfied is at least the output voltage should be equal to VGS minus VT. Okay, so we need to find V naught minimum. So for that, you need to find the value of VGS, because VGS is not given in the question. If VT is given, of course, VT is given as 0.7. But if you are not going to find the value of VGS, means we will not get V0 min. So to find V0 minimum or the minimum output voltage, first you need to find out the VGS value. So for that, first you will write this equation. This equation you know from first module. This equation is very much clear for you. This is the equation for drain current when the transistor operates in saturation region. So as far as the particular circuit is concerned, you can say that ID1 is nothing but I reference, right? ID1 is nothing but I reference. See, I reference is a current that is flowing through the transistor. Same current is flowing through your Q1 also. So ID1 is nothing but it is equal to I reference. So you will put I reference here. Is given in the question. I reference is 100. Half into K n dash is given 200. W by L is given 10. W is a width, L is a length 1. It is given. VGS you need to find out. VT is given 0.7. So all the parameters is given. Just by using calculator you can solve the answer. So your answer will be 1 volt. Okay. So that 1 volt you need to substitute and find as V0 minimum. What is V0 minimum? VGS minus VT. That's 1 minus 0.7, 0.3 volt. So first part of the question is finished. Now you will find the output resistance. What is output resistance? It is VA divided by ID. VA is early voltage. Early voltage is given as 20 volt divided by current is 100 microampere. You have the output current with you. It is also given in the question. So just you can cancel 0. 2 by 10 is 0.2. Micro will come to numerator and it will become mega ohm. Okay. Micro is 10 to the power minus 6. It comes to the numerator. It becomes 10 to the power 6. That is, it becomes mega ohm. Clear? Pavan, if it is not clear means you can pose me and ask the doubts. Okay. So now you have the equation for output resistance. Now next you will find the change in output current due to change in the output voltage. And by Ohm's law, you have the change in current is nothing but change in voltage divided by resistance. What is the change in voltage? Change in voltage is 1 volt divided by output resistance. Substitute this 0.2 mega ohm over here. So 1 by 0.2 will become 5 microampere. So this will be your change in output current. Now last part of the question, R value. So to find R, I just revise the circuit again. You can find the resistance by finding the potential difference and current ratio. So what is the potential difference over here? Potential difference is VDD minus VGS, isn't it? This voltage is nothing but VDS, but what VDS is equal to VGS. Earlier in the theory, I have told you whenever there exists a short circuit between the two terminals, you have zero potential difference. Okay, so the voltage at this particular node is equal to voltage at this particular node. That is VGS is equal to VDS. Clear? So R is equal to VDD minus VGS divided by I reference. So resistance is potential difference by current. So VDD minus VGS by I reference. VDD is given 3, VGS is 1. Change, it is mentioned a change of 1 volt. So that's VGS is that particular change is 1. By reference current is taken as 100 microampere, which is given in the question. So substitute it and you will get the final answer as 20 kilo ohm. Hope it is clear. Hope the problem is clear. If any doubts, you can ask me in the classroom or in the WhatsApp, or you can ping me personally. Okay. Now we will go to the MOS current steering circuits. So you know what is current source and current mirror. The intention of current source is to produce an output current based upon the reference current and the aspect ratios of two transistors. Okay, suppose in an integrated circuit you have many different components and the current in one part of this integrated IC may not be same in other locations. So what you have to do is you need to steer the current. If you have many locations or many devices, the current wherever you have generated in one particular point, you need to steer that particular current to other points of integrated circuit as well. So for this, you need to access the steering circuit. So the intention of current steering circuit is to steer the required amount of current from one part of the IC to another part of the IC. So this is current steering circuit, which is shown in this particular figure. So here, as you can see, you have 5 transistors over here. So basically the combination of these two transistors, that is Q1 and Q2, will form a current source. Okay, the first half, that is Q1 and Q2, I will annotate it and explain. The first part, that is Q1 and Q2, this forms the current source. Okay, and this will produce a current I2 based upon I reference. Here, this will produce the current I2 based upon the reference current IREF. And simultaneously, I have a connection from this point to base gate of Q3. So what does it mean? This reference current is again going to determine I3 as well. Just like here in this part, I2 is determined by I reference. Okay. Here I2 is determined by I reference. Here I2 is determined by I reference. Similarly, I3 is also represented by I reference. I3 is also represented, determined by I reference, because you have a parallel voltage, parallel connection of three devices connected to the reference current. See, both the transistors Q2, then you have Q3, you have, then you have Q4 as well as Q5. So all these currents are being determined by this reference current. So both I2 and I3 it is simultaneously determined by I reference. Okay. So now, based upon this, we will go to the analysis. Pavan, able to hear? Where are you? Are you there, or simply you have walked away? Just log in and you have gone, right? So here the output current I2 is determined by the reference current IREF. So you have a relation between I2 and I reference. So output current is equal to reference current into the ratio of two aspect ratios. Similarly, how this I3 is defined? Again, you can see I3 is again determined by I reference, because here as like the gate of Q1 is connected to gate of Q2. Similarly, gate of Q1 is also connected to gate of Q3. So we can say that I2 is depending on I reference. Similarly, I3 is also depending on I reference. So I have written in similar fashion, I have written equation number 2. The only difference here is instead of putting W by L to the base 2, here you have W by L to the base 3 in order to consider the transistor Q3 into account. Clear? So you have two equations. So in this way, current steering happens. So you just need to define those equations, how we are going to find I2, I3, etc. Okay. So this is basically the current steering circuit, what you have. Next, we will go to the high frequency response. So this completes the first half of this module. So till now we have studied about the current source, current mirror and current steering circuits, and you need to derive the expression connecting the output voltage and the output current. Okay, based upon that you have to do that particular program. So that numerical is very important. Just you go through that numerical, it is very important for you. Now we will go for high frequency response general considerations. You know what is high frequency response of an amplifier. Generally, you have appreciable gain in low frequency, and whenever you increase a frequency, the gain will decrease. So at a particular frequency fh, what happens is your gain will reduce by 3 dB or 70.7 percentage of maximum value. Okay, so at this particular point, your gain has been reduced. See how much it has been reduced? It has been reduced to 3 dB. So this frequency fh at which the gain of the amplifier is reduced to 3 dB is known as cutoff frequency. So what is the 3 dB? What do you mean by 3 dB actually? 3 dB corresponds to the reduction of gain by how much factor? 0.707, that is 1 by root 2, or you can say in terms of percentage, you can say 70.7% of the gain has been reduced. The maximum gain is this. This is your maximum gain, but unfortunately at this particular frequency your gain has been reduced to 3 dB. Okay, so for any amplifier you have this particular cutoff frequency and you need to find the cutoff frequency. Okay, or you need to design an amplifier based upon this cutoff frequency. Now we will go through the reason why this gain decreases because of high frequency. So that is what is being explained in this particular part. You can see that when frequency increases, Xc becomes less. What do you mean by Xc? Xc is the capacitive reactance. Okay, you know the expression for capacitive reactance, it is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi Fc. So when frequency increases, what happens? Capacitive reactance decreases, it becomes short circuited. Okay, so when you take any amplifier having MOSFET devices, you have certain junction capacitances. So all these junction internal capacitances will appear short circuit in high frequency. So based upon that, the gain is being reduced. Okay. So why? What happens when short circuit? The capacitors will exhibit the. It will not. It will not cooperate with this amplification process, and as a result your gain will reduce. So that is a reason for the gain reduction at high frequency. So as I told you, this gain is not at all a constant. See, when you can observe in this particular this thing, what is that graph, your gain is not at all a constant for all the frequencies, right? Till fh it is maintained constant, but once your frequency increases beyond fh, that constancy is failed and your gain is going to reduce. So you no longer you can say that your gain is a constant. So gain is not a constant. Instead, gain is a function of frequency. Gain of your amplifier is a function of what? It is a function of the frequency. So instead of putting just a constant A, now what you will do is you will put it is a function of frequency, that is A of S. Okay, A of S. So that A of S we need to find out. Okay. Now, this A of S, how does it how does it varies? It varies with respect to a high frequency function fh of S. We can't say that always this high frequency function is again a constant. It will change. So for fh of S is 1 means A of S is equal to AM. Whenever fh of S is 1, then A of S is equal to AM. This fh of S is known as high frequency gain function and AM is known as midband gain. So till fh means cutoff frequency, till the cutoff frequency, you are having a constant gain, that is AM, that is represented by here. See, till fh. I will annotate and tell you. See, till fh. This is the region of that low frequency band. So till fh, you are getting the maximum gain AM. So during this particular period of time, you will not get any what to say, you will you will not get any changes in your gain function, or your gain, it will be constant, and that constancy is nothing but AM, which is represented as midband gain AM. But this midband gain AM, later after increasing frequency, it will slowly start decreasing. So that decrement is represented by a function fh of s. So this fh of s now onwards, it will not be 1, it will be less than 1. So any quantity which is less than 1, when you multiply with AM, the overall function, what happens to the overall function A of S? That overall function A of S will increase. So initially you have a maximum gain AM, and later what happened? Later what happened? It got decreased. Okay. Later it got decreased because of this fh of s. Okay, fh of s now it becomes very much less than 1 after the cutoff frequency fh. Now we will go through how to write this function fh of s. So this is the equation of representing the high frequency gain function fh of s in terms of polynomial in the numerator and polynomial in the denominator. Okay, so here you have n number of terms in the numerator and n number of terms in the denominator, where each of these terms has got poles and zeros. The numerator terms will have zeros and the denominator term will have the poles. Okay, where the zeros are omega z1, omega z2, omega zn, and the poles are omega p1, omega p2, etc. up to omega pn. These are the positive numbers. So all these zeros and poles, these are nothing but positive numbers representing the frequencies of n real poles. So what happens if fh of s is equal to 1? I told you a of s is equal to am, means maximum gain. So this condition fh of s is equal to 1, it will happen only when frequencies are 0. So when you substitute s is equal to 0, s is your frequency here, okay? S is a complex frequency. So when you substitute that complex frequency as 0, the terms in the numerator, it will become 1, and the terms in the denominator, it will become 1. So the overall ratio, it will become 1:1. Okay. So whenever the frequency is low, the high frequency function will become 1. So the overall gain will become the maximum midband gain. Okay, so this is a way of representing the high frequency gain function. So if any doubts, go through the video recordings of the class. If any doubts, you can ask me. Okay. So that's all for today.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.